Your money habits may have started before you could even count money. Think about that for a moment. Long before you earned your first paycheck, opened a bank account, or worried about bills, your brain was already learning powerful lessons about money, security, and survival. If you grew up in a household where money was constantly tight, where unexpected expenses created stress, or where every purchase required careful calculation, your brain may have adapted in ways that still influence your decisions today. And here's the surprising part: those adaptations weren't mistakes, they were survival strategies. When a child grows up around scarcity, the brain learns to focus on immediate needs. It becomes highly sensitive to rewards, opportunities, and potential threats. Saving for a future that feels uncertain becomes less important than solving today's problems. This is known as scarcity conditioning. Imagine a child watching their parents worry about rent, food, or utility bills. That child may not fully understand the numbers, but their brain understands the emotion. Stress becomes familiar. Uncertainty becomes normal. Years later, that same person might struggle to save money, feel anxious about spending, or constantly worry that everything could disappear overnight, even when their financial situation has improved. The fascinating thing is that the brain isn't responding to current reality alone. It's responding to patterns learned years earlier. But childhood poverty is only part of the story. Modern life may be adding an entirely new layer of pressure. Every day, our attention is pulled in hundreds of directions. Notifications flash across our screens. Social media competes for our focus. Processed foods are engineered to trigger cravings. Entertainment is available every second of the day. Our brains were never designed for this level of constant stimulation. The result is decision fatigue, mental exhaustion, and a nervous system that rarely gets a chance to fully recover. In many ways, modern overstimulation creates a state that looks surprisingly similar to scarcity. Your brain begins operating in reaction mode instead of reflection mode. It becomes harder to think long term, harder to focus, and harder to make deliberate choices. But here's the hopeful part: the brain remains adaptable throughout life. The patterns you learned are powerful, but they are not permanent. Awareness is often the first step toward change. When you understand why you react the way you do, you gain the ability to pause, question old habits, and build new ones. Your past may have shaped your brain, but it doesn't have to define its future. And perhaps that's the most important thing to remember. Survival strategies helped you get here, but growth begins when you realize you no longer have to live as if you're still fighting yesterday's battles.